and welcome to the latest episode of Beatson Talks. I'm Laura Boyd, and this is the podcast where we have conversations around cancer and people open up and share their stories, which we are delighted about. And today is a really lovely one. I am joined by the brilliant Vikki Ridler. Vikki, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming into the hot seat. And you've got your own podcast, so this is a bit different. Just the shoes on the other foot.
It's nice to be the guest.
Is it?
Absolutely.
Puts me under pressure. My questions better be on point. but Vikki, you've got a special connection, as so many of us do, to the Beatson. So let's go back to your story. You were going for just a routine smear.
Yep. So I had my children quite young. So I was 21 and 23. And that was obviously a cervical screening back then. We had started at 21. So everything was fine until I had my son, and I was invited in for my routine smear test, and they had picked up some changes. So this happened. I was monitored for 6 months, every 6 months up until I was diagnosed at 27. So previously everything had been fine. It was just detected cell changes, and the one previous to me being diagnosed was clear. So it just shows you how
it can change.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think it was when I was in my 20s, I had abnormal cells. It's quite common, and they, you go and get it checked and stuff, and then, as you say, they monitor it. But so when you went, I guess, for the last time when they discovered it, I take it you just thought, oh, this will be fine. This is just the routine check.
I actually had got so used to it. Like everybody and a laugh, not in a laugh in a bad way, but when it was so normal for me, the whole routine going in and, getting your smear test and everything like that. I batted, no eyelids were batted at that.
Yeah.
So when I was going down, so I had noticed a little bit of bleeding. Didn't think really much of it, but had made an appointment anyway just to get checked over. And at the time, she had said, I think it was 3 months late I was. We'll get everything organised and we'll do it. And it typical, didn't expect to hear anything, and then got a letter in through the post and was like, I do not understand these big words in this letter. Like, what does this mean? Phoned the GP, got through my lovely nurse who had seen me throughout the years.
Yeah.
And she was like, this just means it's a little bit of abnormal cells and they're going to do some further treatment. Try not to worry yourself. So I took what she said to me as sort of, right, okay, that's fine. And I was invited in for biopsy and some further treatment a few weeks later.
And then from there, what happened?
So from there, I had it was a cold coagulation where they burn the cells. So I never thought anything of it until I was lying there and I was like, I was a bit overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But it is just because there was like 3 nurses and the doctor, and I was like, I don't actually know what's happening here. But they explained everything with what they had shown me, because obviously they have the camera. It was like a white mass. It was sort of over my cervix, I suppose. And what they had said was, we're going to take a couple bits, like pieces away, send it away for biopsy, but we're going to burn these cells and you'll not feel anything. And I didn't feel anything. And the doctor, I remember the last part of it, the doctor had said to me, I'm confident I got everything, but we'll still send the biopsies. You might not hear anything. If we do, you'll maybe perhaps get a letter. I think it was a letter he'd said to me, or you'll get a phone call. Anyway, it was 2 weeks later. I was standing in work, and I'll never forget this. I seen it was an 0800 number, and I was like, who's phoning me? 0800 number, right? So straight away I was like, hello. And it was the doctor's secretary. Got results for your biopsy. We need you to come in tomorrow. And it's still a first, all right, okay. But, you're going along with the conversation. Yeah. And it was the last part of it where she was like, and please make sure you bring somebody with you. Gosh. And I was like, no, I knew I was getting in the next day and I knew whatever it was. But in my head straight away, I was like, this is not good. Yeah. Because that statement at the end of it anyway. And I'm not somebody that can process news straight away. Like, I'll sit on it and then I'll be like, then I'll get frantic. Yeah. And the frantic came, phone my mum, you need to come with me tomorrow. She was fine. She was like, oh, don't worry, like, it'll be okay.
But it's so hard. And those kind of 24 hours of not knowing, I
Yeah.
guess, as well.
And trust me, like, I am probably not that person that takes that in and goes, right, I'll just need to wait. So that was me phoning the back and trying to get somebody. I was like, no, I need to speak to somebody just now. Like,
Yeah.
you can't say this to me on the phone. Anyway, it turns out my frantic phoning and everything else, I ended up getting through to somebody who was Fran, and she did calm me down at that certain point, but she later became such an important part of that journey for me. And she said to me, Vikki, you know, I work in this ward, you're coming in tomorrow. Put it this way, if I don't know about you, like, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know who you are. Anyway, she then found out who I was, and the next day I went in. Now, I don't think I slept. I probably diagnosed myself at that point. And we went in and we were sitting there for what felt like hours and hours and hours, and it was Fran who came down and got me, and I knew instantly in that moment, I was like, this is not good. She knows who I am now.
Was this in the Beatson you were going into?
No, it actually was my local hospital, so it was
Right.
over in Wishaw.
Yeah.
And I was out at the gynecology department, head through, and of course it was the consultant the doctor who'd done the previous treatment who'd sat me down. And, you know, in that moment you hear the words, we've got the results of your biopsy. I'm afraid to tell you that you've got cervical cancer. And this day was the day before my 28th birthday that I was
you're
in.
so young.
So I was like, and straight away the words hysterectomy were mentioned. There were further tests mentioned. There were further biopsies. Everything that they needed to do, scans, MRIs, and it just sort of went like. And he said, "Do you want a moment?" And I was like, "Nope." Right, what happens next?
Yeah.
And I went into that autopilot and okay, so I've got it. So what
How
do we do
we
now?
deal with it?
Yeah. And it's so strange because, and I'm talking through personal experience and other people who have had different cancer diagnoses as well, but I never felt that I had cancer. I never felt that I had something in me or that something was wrong with me. And I also was like, how is this happening to me? Like, how, where, and what? Like, I'm too young, and you always go through that. This will never happen to me emotion. And then when it does, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
But my head went into autopilot, and it was like, how do I get better? And it wasn't a good thing necessarily because I never processed it.
Yeah.
But it did make me go, right, okay, let's look to these next stages and where we're going to go next.
What was your mum like at that point?
Well, this bit gets me emotional every time I think about it. But I remember her being upset. And I think if I was in that situation, I'd be exactly the same. But it almost like orchestrated the room where I was like, Fran, can you get my mum? Can you get my mum a water? Like, can you? And
you become the kind of carer because you're
because obviously, and I've said this quite a bit, and it's almost a very strange alien thing to say, but in that present moment, like, I'm quite headstrong, I'm quite focused, I'm quite driven, I'm quite determined, and I remember thinking, thank God it's me and not anybody close to me, because I can deal with it.
Yeah.
And it was quite a quick, crazy journey after.
Well, it is a strange thing. We've spoken about that quite a few times in this podcast because you're the one who receives the devastating news, but like that, you're going to have to deal with it. So you just want to get on that path. Whereas I was the same. It's when you tell other people and you see their reaction because they're this step removed from it. So they feel helpless, and that's
I
tough.
actually couldn't make those calls to people.
Yeah.
I couldn't say it. And I think I've got my mum, God love her, I got my mum to do the majority of it. And I think everybody just wants answers, and you don't have answers at that particular point.
Yeah.
So, and I remember texting, like, even my best friend, texting her, being like, hi, just so you know, I got diagnosed, please don't phone me. And she's my best pal. So she's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So and you're almost kind of isolating yourself away from letting everybody know, like, and how you feel. And I honestly, like, how I felt in that present moment was just numb.
Like it,
Yeah, you just
like
have no other feeling.
Yeah. How did the treatment progress then? What happened next?
There was always, so I had to, because of the cold coagulation, where they had sort of the burning of the cells, I had to wait 4 weeks until I was able to then go for the MRI, because it might have skewed, the results in that. So that 4 weeks was probably the worst. Like that was the bit where it's like, should I be planning like a funeral? Should I be like, what should I be doing? The unknown is horrendous.
And with your kids, because they would have been so young as
They
well.
were so young. So my daughter was 6 and my son was 4 at the time.
Yeah.
They didn't understand, and I didn't tell them either, partly because of their age and sort of seeing how things went. So yes, that was difficult. And then the MRI stated that there was no spread or anything.
Good.
So it was then planned where I would be discussed at the next MDT meeting, the senior management meeting, and then it would see where we were at. But there was always the talk of the hysterectomy right at the very beginning with me, because I had 2 children. So I think the doctor at that point prepared me for it, but because I had to be passed, so I went to the Royal Infirmary, and I then met my new consultant, Dr. Shanbag, who met me, and she said, right, they haven't looked over everything, right, we're going to try potentially LETS treatment, we'll see if there's anything else, and then we'll discuss, it might be a hysterectomy. So it was always planned. Anyway, LETS treatment was done, again, no further cancer found, and I was like, well, this is good news.
Yeah.
But it was still decided that it was a radical hysterectomy that I would undergo. And this all happened in the September. And then I was booked in for my hysterectomy at the end of November. So it was quite a quick process.
So quick, and such a big thing for you to
Yeah.
have to undertake. How did you feel about having to go through that?
Well, I went to the place that you should never go, Google.
Yeah.
And I tried to find other people that were in my position. And at the time, there was only a forum really that I could find where other people had talked about hysterectomy. And you don't know until you go into that what it's going to look like. So being 28 at this point and thinking, am I going to be, and obviously I didn't know if I needed any like chemo, radiotherapy or anything. Am I going to be cut open? Like all of these different things, which sound so trivial at that moment in time where you're facing, a life-changing decision.
Yeah,
And
but no, it's your body. It's just
100%.
everything. Yeah.
And that was like, oh, am I going to, like all these different things that I thought of, or will I lose all my hair? Like, what am I going to look like? Like, am I going to look like I have cancer? Like, really everything going through your head at that point. And on the forum worried me more, because it was women who had obviously went through a hysterectomy, and it was like, oh, I don't feel like a woman anymore. And I'm like, oh, Jesus, right, okay. And there
Yeah.
was not one little bit of positivity in there, and I get it because everybody's going through the same thing, but there was not any message for me to cling on to.
Yeah.
So that worried me. But for me, this was another step in getting better. So that still was in my head that I need to get better.
Yeah.
So I was still very much, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. And after so I was booked in for the hysterectomy on the 28th of November. And it was like, we'll hopefully do keyhole. If we can't do keyhole, we will need to, obviously, and then we'll take some more to see if your lymph nodes are clear, etc., to see if you need further treatment. So there was still a lot riding on this hysterectomy, as much as this was a monumental thing for me.
There was still going to be more
Yeah.
after it as well. Yeah.
But I did wake up. The operation was a success.
Good.
I probably didn't realise until I was in waiting to go into the room how big this was going to be. And that suddenly when I got teary, because of course I was very much like robot mode, like let's go, that's the next step, let's see what we're doing here.
Well, it's a huge thing for anyone to go through, but also obviously loads of people go through it for different reasons, but to have the fact that you might go through it and then also then need more treatment and things like that, it's massive.
It's huge
to take on.
And I remember even in the morning, because everybody's sort of in the same ward, and I was the only younger person there. So I was like, oh, and I wanted to be the exception of the rule as well. So I was in it and I was so determined that this was going to be going well and I was going to share some positive news after it. And I probably didn't realise, like even when I look back and the things that happened, I'm like, wow, that was so hard actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, the operation was a success. The recovery was really difficult. And I was really, really trying for it. Obviously, it's a major surgery. And I was like,
You want to get straight back on your feet.
100%.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to be back at work. I want to be, and not even thinking about like actually taking the time to recover mentally and physically.
Yeah. And did you manage to do that in the end? Did you manage to switch off a bit? And
No.
No.
I actually, and if anybody else is going through that and is probably resonating to everything that I'm saying, please take the time to recover.
Yeah.
Because it is just it was so detrimental to me in the long run. But yes, I went through all seasons of Grey's Anatomy, glorified doctor at the end of it, like watched every season of this. But it really, really had to be, I wish I was more kinder to myself at that point.
Yeah. I think that is so important. It is almost just allowing yourself to take that step back, which is so hard, isn't
Yeah.
it? But allowing yourself just to be cared for, basically,
Yeah.
if you can do that. And so the operation was a success. And then did you need any chemo, radio?
So 2 weeks later, I got the call, and no further treatment was needed. And I think that news for me was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. So I was still going to be monitored over the next 5 years, but at that point, it felt like, I don't know, like winning the lottery or something like that, where you've got,
you've been through it and it's
end is in sight.
How has it changed your life?
So mentally, eventually everything caught up with me, and I had to really go back and take the steps that I should have done at the time. But don't get me wrong, any decision that I make now, if it terrifies me, I go for it, which I wouldn't have been. And I always do, and I talk about this quite a lot, particularly within anything I do now, where I go, life is too short, so take the risks and everything else. And I suppose it's just changed. It changed my whole personality, like whole
for the better. Do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And you think and I really had to break to come back and look at it from a different, like, it matured me so much.
Yeah.
It changed my outlook on my advice that I give to everybody is go for it. Terrifies you, go for it. And every decision that I make, it's like, oh, well, was it scary? Yep, no, it's the right one then. Go for it. Because what are you going to do when you look back at everything and think, well, I should have done those things and I should have made those moves. So yes, it's absolutely changed me for the better. And I always advocate and talk about this for especially younger women who still fear like going out for or going for cervical screening and the HPV vaccination that came in. I was enrolled after I left school. My son and my daughter have both had it.
Yeah.
And they'll both proudly sit like and advocate for me. And I think a lot of friends, you don't realise until you see it out loud, and other people are like, oh, I've had to go and get treatment, or I've been through the exact same
regular
thing.
cells, and I think there is still, because I've got friends that hate going for a smear, or there's still a kind of fear of it, and you're like, oh, I mean, it's not pleasant, but it's not painful. Just it's just do it because it could save your life. Literally.
It's the aftermath of it. Like I always say, like that gives you peace of mind.
Yeah.
It's like anything, you dread it before it, but you're so proud of yourself after you've done it. And we actually make a joke about it, like, and it's even just the funnier things, and where you'll maybe talk about something and my friends will text me like, oh, that nurse has got her hands, like our job cut out for her today. You see, I've got my lovely beige underwear on today, like, that washed ones that have been through the washes that have turned like grey, or geez, I've not shaved today, that one, like, and we make a laugh and joke about it, because at the end of the day, I can guarantee you that no nurse is going to be sitting there worrying about
not judging.
No,
they're not judging.
No, not at all. And that was the thing. That's why I talk about, like, when I was going routinely, it was just another thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, anybody out there, like, I think it's just how good you'll feel after you've went for that screening.
Yeah. And then, it's just so important to get checked. And I think there are so many things we don't get checked for.
Yeah.
The ones that you can, then make sure you do it.
Absolutely.
Tell me about life now, because social media star, estate agent, extraordinaire, podcast host. Did all that come in after then?
Yeah. So when I when I was on my focus in getting better, I also put my focus into going back to work. 5 weeks after a hysterectomy and
Oh
threw
my
myself
goodness.
into like another branch. I took on more responsibility and everything else. Ultimately, I've always loved my job. So I've been doing my job since I was 16.
Yeah.
And I was in the safe job. Like I've talked about this where I was on my own for a period of time where I was a single mum as well. So I always was chasing the next promotion or worrying about the next step. Whereas now, it's if it scares me, like I said to you, I always take the chance.
Yeah.
So yeah, started my own business a year ago, called Fifth Avenue. It's my own estate agency and it's doing things a little bit differently, I would say. Also podcasts, yes, which came in last year, and it's again meeting other people who have got stories to tell, which I absolutely love.
Yeah.
And you'll be the same
Oh, it's
as
just
well.
so interesting
Yeah.
and also so helpful.
Yeah.
I think for other people to hear, and not just the cancer, the business thing, taking those
Yeah.
risks and things, how from something so horrendous, you can take something positive out of it and change.
And it's relatable for a lot
Yeah.
of people as well.
Yeah.
I also have 2 teenagers,
Life
which
is
is
full on, I can imagine.
so full on football mum and everything else. And honestly, I don't have a spare minute, but
Yeah.
I would not change it for the world. And
Yeah.
I think especially through everything I do is for family. So any decision I make is, will this be a good decision for my family? And if it's yes, and even if I'm devastated, terrified and everything else, I'll do it. So it has made me a little bit more less cautious and a little bit more up for an adventure.
Go get them. You're an amazing woman, Vikki, honestly.
Thank you so much.
And we're in the lovely yellow studio. Tell me about how the Beatson played a part in your journey.
So I was terrified to go to the Beatson.
Yeah, because it is an amazing place, but it's so synonymous
So
with
I think when you hear Beatson, you all automatically go cancer.
yeah.
And that's prior to having this, because I obviously had other family members who sadly were attending the Beatson and attending quite regularly. And when I went, that was my, that
The
terrifying.
reality,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And it was having gone in there and actually going it through into the Beatson, and you realise, but this is a lovely place. And I think there's almost like this calm atmosphere when you're in there, and everybody's so nice because everybody's, whether it's patients or staff, everybody's there for the same purpose.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's really lovely about it. And I actually fondly hold my memories of the Beatson after it, where just having a wander around everywhere and seeing everything that they do. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's such an amazing place. And there is that weird feeling of like kind of calm in it. And I always think when you're in the waiting room waiting for your bloods, whatever, you look around and there are like that, so many stories there, so many people going through different things. But there's something nice about it almost as well. You're like, we're all in the same boat
Yeah.
here. And,
Everybody wants to chat to you as well. And I
which
love
is
that.
so lovely. I know, I really, really like that part of it.
Uh-huh.
And obviously, it's not all happy, and there's some horrendous stories, but there's something about being in there that is comforting as well, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like a strength.
Yeah.
Like you can't explain it, but it's like a strength when you're in there. And I'm not just talking for the people that have the cancer diagnosis. It's for the family and everything else, which is so important, I think.
And I think because it's like such a centre of excellence as well. So you walk in and you're like, right, I'm in your hands now. What are you going to do to me? Life is good then.
Life is good, yes.
What do you still want to achieve?
In life in general. So I want to, obviously I've got a connection with the football world from my own. I want to raise more awareness for cervical cancer. We obviously had the fact that one of the well-known charities have sort of sadly ceased. I want to still raise awareness, especially for younger females. Female football is obviously, so if you're listening to any female football clubs out there, we definitely need to have a chat.
Yeah.
I also want to start a training academy for estate agency. Estate agency is so hard to get into, especially for younger people who are leaving school. And you don't need a qualification. I want to start that. So that's going to be probably in the hit list for this year. And really just enjoy my life as much as possible.
Good. How do you enjoy your life? What do you love doing?
If you ask me, this is like one of these questions, like, what's your hobbies? And I'm like, I don't know.
I don't have any.
I don't know.
Being with your kids.
Being with my children, yes. I get the enjoyment out of the small things, like watching them play football, like my daughter, my son, seeing them excel in life. This is obviously my son's picking his subjects for his future career, which he wants to be a joiner. And my daughter is her exams year. Like, she could leave school. Like, stop the bus? How did that happen? And watching them, spending time with my partner. I've got a dog, and really just seeing my family. I'm an auntie. I've got two beautiful brand new nieces.
Oh,
so that just absolutely brings me so much joy.
Yeah.
So yes, that is being around family. And seeing everybody else love their life, and even just the small things, like it's celebrating with everybody, even on social media, seeing everybody's wins. I love it.
Yeah. Well, you are amazing. And I know you'll have inspired so many people, and let's get that message out there. Get checked.
Please do.
And then, life can be good. And I'm so glad you're doing well. Enjoy every moment of it. And thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Well, if you would like to hear more about our podcast and the work that the Beatson does, then please visit beatsoncancercharity.org, and we'll see you next time.